balance designer, but let's ask Burrow. What do you think? How's the balance?
Well, half of my job is babysitting this guy, the balance designer, and Solstice has got some changes in there, and actually, pretty pleased with it. Yeah, he's a little strong, but he's creating good play, so he promotes very good play, and so far the community seems to like him a lot. It's hard to find a hero that beats Devourer's play percentage. Yeah. He'll probably get a change or two before he reaches competitive play, but for now, he's not looking too bad.
Suggestion? This fella has cleaned house up here. You got a backpack full of stuff that we've given you. All right, what do you?
My suggestion would be to make a position when you pick Solstice, random, so people just cannot insta-pick it every game. So they have to search for it.
I'd like, who here knows about stolen, what is his name, stolen IDs, auto instant picker? Yeah? Okay, so there's a mod. Go to the mod forums, right? Get this mod. Stolen IDs auto picker. I use it. Set it to Solstice. Instant AP. Before the screen even splits, it goes, Solstice! You're just like, what? It even instant readies for you. You can go take a dump and then come back, and it's the Solstice is in the game, ready to go. You're good. And that's just my advice for anybody who wants. So if Solstice is in every game, pick him yourself. Auto picker, stolen ID.
All right, thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Brent. Appreciate it. All right, guys, we are going to be going into game 2 here for Cats versus Pain Gaming. Before the first game, I asked for you guys to applaud for who you think would win. Cats Gaming, that one guy back there cheered for him. Let's see now. Who thinks Cats Gaming will game 2 after that first game 1? Let's hear it for Cats Gaming. All right, for everybody that thinks Brazil is going to make a big comeback, give a quick shout out to Pain Gaming. All right, Breaky CPK, Tralf, do your thing.
Welcome.
I don't have a...
Test. There we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. DreamHack winner 2012. I'm Breaky CPK, joined by Tralf Mador. Sorry about that little bit of a delay there. We had some fun in between, though. Big shout out to WZA Burrow and, of course, Milkvat. My best friend ever. He would never hurt me whenever doing anything. No, but so yeah, we had some fun there, obviously, in between the matches. Again, it looks like things are just about ready to go. So excited to see, again, that first game, man. It's true. Cats Gaming, I'm sure they surprised a lot of people, including out here in the crowd. When Sam asked that question again, a lot more people actually expecting to win now after that first game, and for great reasons, Trev.
I think they took everybody by surprise, honestly. And again, I've said this so many times, it really does come down to the draft. They had amazing heroes. They had a strong dual lane mid, a Fade and Engineer. They had a very good jungle, too. Not just a Tempest that was passive, but at the same time, he was actually ganking quite a lot, and that's something I normally don't like. But in this game, it actually worked quite well. Like, he was roaming constantly. He was actually roaming even on the other jungler Legionnaire himself. It just seems to work out, and Scorpion playing that Tempest just really made it easy for the rest of his team.
He really did. Now, with that said, it looks like the teams are in game number 2, so we're actually just going to go ahead and jump right into it, guys. Let's take a look. Game number 2, Pain Gaming taking on Cats Gaming here. Latin America versus CIS. So, as you can see, the locking phase has begun. The blind ban phase took care of. Ophelia, Keeper of the Forest coming out for Pain. Fade, Keeper of the Forest coming out for Cats Gaming. So, don't want to, obviously Cats Gaming, they had Fade last game, but this time they're the second pick, so they don't want to give Pain the chance to pick up Fade. And so instead they ban him. Keeper of the Forest overlapping here. We've actually had a good amount of overlapping bans, actually, this event, it seems like.
We have, and obviously Cats Gaming, they value that Fade very highly. They're in the second position now, and they do not want to give it to something, or they do not want to give it to Pain Gaming because maybe they just don't want to deal with it. Obviously, though, Wild Soul is already locked out first from Pride, and that is the hero also that sometimes gets under the radar. Like, I feel like it really is a god tier hero. It's one of those heroes kind of like, in my opinion, like Tundra. Like, people just seem to not pick Tundra as much anymore. He does get banned from time to, well, I shouldn't say from time to time. It's quite frequently he gets banned, but also there's a number of times, too, where I just see him open and not even pick throughout games. And I think people sometimes forget some of these heroes that they just want to, like, move to something new. They're like, oh, wait, yeah, Zephyr seems to be popular and fun and cool. Let's play Zephyr, or, what other, FA, or, not, that's a bad example. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is sometimes people forget about these heroes. Another one that comes to mind is, like, Meraxis. So So, and then Wild Soul in this instance, I think sometimes people forget just how powerful he is, especially in that long lane.
Yeah, he definitely is. I mean, again, Wild Soul, it's just so fun, you know, seeing the hero in the sense that obviously if you're playing against him, it's not so fun, but if you have him on your team, and as expected, in my opinion, it's always so just like, wait, so he's a suicide brawl, he went 1 versus 2 or whatever, even a 1 versus 1, but still suicide. Oh, look at that, he has an 18-minute Mock of Brilliance. I mean, it's just ridiculous what he can do, even in that suicide role, and come out to be very, very effective for the team, of course. So, Wild Soul the first lock, we then got the Aluna Calacious follow-up locks actually coming up for Cats Gaming, so a couple of supports thrown in there, and we'll see how Pain Gaming now responds. Again, both these teams not afraid to use a bit of that extra time here, just like last game, at least earlier on. So, wanted to think about, of course, the bans, the locks, and everything they do, of course, very thoroughly. And nothing wrong with that. As you brought up last game, though, you want to be a little bit careful because the last thing you want to do is random a hero and then be like, wait a second, we didn't mean to do that, and then have issues come from that. So, Pain Gaming, Pride specifically, the captain for the team. Now, again, this Pain Gaming team, great team themselves, obviously, but they did get outplayed by Cats Gaming last game. So, very interested to see how they respond here in game number 2. Look at that, though. Demented Shaman and Bramble. Now, they locked Bramble yesterday. They did not pick him. But with that Demented Shaman lock especially, and the Wild Soul the first lock, something's telling me we could have a push coming again from Pain.
Yeah, I think you said it too. With the Wild Soul as that first lock, that tells me right away that they're probably eyeing that Wild Soul as a first pick out of that lock pool. And that provides lots of push, as well as Demented Shaman. Now, I don't know that much about Bramble, but I do hear that his ultimate does massive damage to towers.
Yeah.
I've never played it myself, but on top of that, Demented Shaman, whenever you run a pushing strategy, to be able to basically clear the entire wave with a max healing wave, that healing bomb, it's very easy to push, not to mention it gives you more sustainability in pushing. And wow, there's a Zephyr ban actually coming out from Cats. So Cats doing their homework at least about what's going on this week. I do know that they came in early as well and were boot camping with some other people at the same LAN center.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing to me with that, though, Balfagor, the first ban by Pain Gaming. So if they were planning on running a very aggressive push style strategy, banning Balfagor yourself seems a little bit counterintuitive. So maybe they're not. I mean, but why would you even ban Balfagor then? I guess maybe you figure Cats may be able to kind of take some push heroes, so you don't want to give them Balfagor with what's in the locked pool. Very interesting, though. We go through the banning phase, but look at that. Snap pick from Pride. Takes a Parasite, actually, right out of the pool. So not even really putting any thought into that, at least when the picks came around. Snap picks that Parasite, and now we have a fairly quick response with Hammerstorm so far coming out from Cats.
Yeah, Hammerstorm's kind of interesting to me. The Snapback Parasite, I'm not honestly too surprised. There's a lot of jungles banned. Ophelia, Tempest, Cupid the Forest. Legionnaire is still open, and we actually saw him played last time by Yo-Yo Balls. But Parasite, again, is one of those heroes. We see him blind banned a lot more frequently by the top tier teams. Teams like Complexity, TDM, and teams like that. They just don't want to deal with him. And actually, if you remember, it was the last night, who was it we casted versus TT Esports? It was actually VTI Dynasty.
Yes.
And they played a mean Parasite. That was Vestius, I believe.
Yeah.
And he absolutely took over that game. Ultimately, Tail carried it with the Moon Queen in a very epic moment with that Symbol of Rage. But really, the person that made it possible was that Parasite being played by Vestius, just constantly roaming around the map, applied so much pressure to all lanes.
Yeah, that gives Pain a big chance here to take advantage of that. Of course, Snap picking that first pick, Parasite. A lot of extra time again being used, though, here in this game. Cats Gaming down to 15 seconds now and counting. Hammerstorm still that first pick, of course. Who are they going to follow up Hammerstorm with? You got support options in that pool, so maybe not necessarily support. They're thinking they're thinking about it. I mean, we're down to 5 seconds, and there we go. It is going to be Pyromancer, actually. Pyromancer, not a hero we get to see too often on the competitive scene, but by all means, you think Burst, Pyromancer, at least for me, is one of the first heroes that definitely comes to mind. He provides, well, plenty of burst, to say the least. So now, Pyromancer can tend to play a support role if you like to, but I like to personally see him as a solo role, see him take off with an early portal key and whatnot.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. Is like on paper, you see Hammerstorm, Pyromancer, and you think, okay, it's going to lane together. And like I said, it sounds good on paper, but if you're doing that, to me, it would seem that you would want to have the farm on the melee hero. That's what you always want. It just it seems awkward when you want the farm on a range hero because obviously the melee hero can't harass them.
Yeah.
So right there, that tells me, okay, maybe it's a farming Hammerstorm, but we don't necessarily see support Pyro that often. It can work, I suppose, but I don't know. That just seems kind of a little weird to me. But anyway, some fast picks actually from Pain Gaming. Yet again, Cass, by the way, is dipping in to the reserve time, but Magnus and Deadwood picked up here for Pain.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what the lock pool. Again, I keep focusing on that Bramble, man. I want one of these teams to surprise us. I don't know much about him like yourself, obviously. We haven't seen him here in Oncast, but I'd love to see a new hero like that because I have heard plenty about him at least. So it would be fun to see, but we'll see. Obviously, up to the teams. in the end. We got about 12 seconds on total left. Monkey King going to be the final pick here for Cats Gaming. So, you know, Monkey King's always a fun hero in the sense that whenever we see him, it seems like a lot of cases he just absolutely dominates in the laning phase, especially. Just crushes people, and there's always this talk, oh, he's OP, you need to nerf him, and then he's never played again. And then he comes back again, he gets OP, and then he never played again. And it seems like he's in cycles like that. But picked up here by Cats, but holy crap, I'm rambling on. Wild Soul, the first pick out of the Lock Bowl. We got Voodoo Jester Luna, the follow-up, actually, from Cats Gaming out of that Lock Bowl, and now it's back to Pain Gaming. We'll see what they final pick.
Yeah, Monkey King can be ridiculous and can snowball early. And I know that the CIS teams actually like playing Monkey King. I remember actually competing in DreamHack Summer.
Yeah.
And our first match was against not Cats, but it was
Team GA.
Thank you, Team GA, and they picked Monkey King right there. And I heard about them liking Monkey King, and for good reason. I mean, Monkey King actually I think is a strong hero in general. I actually think he is. Again, I don't want to say underrated, just underutilized, I should say.
Boo.
But I am kind of curious. They do pick, what is that?
Glacius.
Glacius, okay. So we're probably going to see a long lane Wild Soul, Glacius, Mag, Parasite in the jungle, maybe Deadwood solo mid. Something like that would work quite well. Cats Gaming, I honestly have no idea how they're going to lane this. I don't really, let's see here. I think it's going to be solo a Luna, and then maybe go Pyro Hammer plus Voodoo Monkey King. I think something like that.
Talk about a completely different lineup. I
Yeah.
mean, you mentioned last game you praised them so much, and obviously it worked out very well for Cats Gaming.
It did.
With the lineup that they had, it was beautiful. You know, the lane set up perfectly. They played it very well. It just all came together, and it seemed to flow so well. This time around, as you just said, I mean, it's a little bit awkward. I mean, Cats Gaming going a completely different turn here in that sense. Maybe it is a case of we're really confident now. We just dominated that first game. Let's switch it up a little bit though and have some more fun this time around. But you got to wonder a little bit. You know, is that going to be the best case here? I mean, I will say they got plenty of burst damage. This is a very aggressive team, that's for sure. I mean, I don't want to say they don't have a hard, because honestly, Hammerstorm, in my opinion, can actually carry pretty solid. I mean, especially if you get him built up, man, that brute strength on top of his items, he could be a massive, pretty much one of the hard, if not the hardest target in the game. So, but not your ideal at the same time. We'll see what they do, but it is a very aggressive lineup, so I'm expecting a lot of entertainment in that sense, at least.
Yeah, and if you can check the items right here as I'm going through, it is going to be, it looks like a support Hammerstorm, except it's a support Hammerstorm that bought a Mark of the Novice, so I don't know, maybe they're going to share some farm or something like that, but Pyromancer is definitely going to be a somewhat farming down here. Or it could be, it looks like just a straight up tri-lane with a solo Monkey King up top and then something mid. I'm not exactly quite sure, it's not set in stone just yet, but they are roaming down here in the enemy jungle, want to maybe try to find somebody, got to have an aggressive ward down here behind the tower, so that tells me, at least on paper, that it's probably going to be a tri-lane bottom. And it is a Deadwood here. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to kill him. And actually, I wouldn't put it past Yo-Yo Balls to actually maybe even level up his clear clean ability so that he can escape some kind of game.
Yeah, see right there. Always forget to go on D&D after I restart. I always get some fun messages because of that. But anyways, yeah, the possibility of a tri-lane, that would be interesting. I mean, Voodoo Jester places the ward aside over here, and he is heading back towards bottom. So yeah, they're looking to just play very aggressive against what it's going to be Yo-Yo Balls down here, playing that Deadwood, of course. So obviously, you know, with this matchup, you'd figure they'd make some adjustments early on, because probably not going to want to keep it exactly down there like that. But Pyromancer is going to be 2 versus 1 mid, so you're definitely going to be better off sending at least one of those 2 support to the middle lane, as Voodoo Jester going to run into Parasite, actually, and we'll start to fall back. But now with Voodoo Jester, if Voodoo Jester heads to the middle lane, and it becomes a 2 versus 2 lane here in the middle, how do you see that shaping up? I mean, obviously, Glacius Magnus is very strong, and actually Pyromancer in a little bit of trouble right here. He may get countered on. Nope, no, Glacius just at a range from, actually, I guess it was still on cooldown with the Tundra Blast, so going to be fun using the health potion. How do you see this playing out now with the adjustment happening?
I mean, you're going to have dual range. Dual range is always great against Magnus, but playing this Magnus King RD does have a shield, so it's going to mitigate a lot of that auto attack damage.
Yeah.
And the thing about Voodoo, as I've talked about before, Pyro getting in a very, very sticky situation. Of course, Magnus does not have mana, so couldn't stun. But the thing about Voodoo is he offers no damage to his stun, like to his spells. It is great, like Curse of the Ground, as it gets leveled up, but you know, just right away, there's no burst. That's why I generally just don't like the hero. His stun is a great setup stun, but yeah, in a lane like this, you're going to need a little bit more damage.
Yeah. Monkey King actually having some fun up here at the top lane. In fact, gets Boo Boo killed even. He forces Wild Soul to respawn him. So middle lane, yeah, Glacius actually doing a lot of damage. Oh, the Phoenix Wave just in range for the Bloodlust kill right there. Coming out for Zerta. Man, it didn't even look like it hit, but I guess it was just in range of the Phoenix Wave to get him taken out. But yeah, Boo Boo going down already up here for Wild Soul at the top lane. So Monkey King apparently doing some work up here against Wild Soul.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that lane. I'll come back to that one. But in the mid lane, I just talked about Voodoo. He doesn't have any damage, but the casks were placed perfectly. It bounced twice to Glacius.
Yeah.
And Zyrtec got his full effect out of all of his damage. He auto-attacked once, he stunned after that. He auto-attacked a couple more times, and then used his spam because he knows that his spam has a little bit more range than his auto-attack. So they played that really, really well in mid lane.
Yeah. Wild Soul's not going to actually very aggressively push this top tower. Look at the creep wave that is here. Actually, no, he's not. He's going to fall back, so he's not. He doesn't want to push the tower just yet. Monkey King is going to go ahead and clean up some creep farm. Instead, Wild Soul goes to the jungle and is even going to start farming a little bit in here. But I don't think that he's going to be able to even kill this Catman champion, honestly. Boo Boo may die before that, so needs to be careful. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, though, we do have a lot of action. Once again, Pyromancer, nice Dragon Stun. It's going to barely survive. The uphill attack misses. The bottle charge is coming out, and Zyrtec going to be fine for now. Will he escape in the end? Magnus does not have enough mana. Glacius very low himself. Oh, and now Glacius. Glacius, that Dragon fires down the Phoenix Wave, and Zyrtec turns it around. Zyrtec making some big plays right here on that Pyromancer. Hammerstorm in the meantime at the bottom lane, running into a Minotaur Parasite as it puts a stun onto Deadwood, and actually out comes the Leech. Does Hammerstorm have enough to get away right here? Nice dodge on the rock grass, but now he's in a little bit of trouble. The Courier is actually the Danger Monkey coming in right there. But is going to be fine as he flies in. He's going to try to fly it away right now. And actually, Parasite getting turned on. Do we have a power throw from Luna? No, we do not. Just out of mana. And actually, Parasite will get away as a result of that. But now a stun going to come out onto Deadwood. And mana coming up for the power throw. There's the final auto attack. And Deadwood will fall. So Cats game. And again, this team, just like last game, they live life on the edge, man. But they come out on top when it's all said and done.
I just think that Pain is just overstaying their welcome. They're overextending a little bit too much, actually, action in the mid lane. Pyromancer, did he still have these illusions up? Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, top lane. I figured these illusions would be dead already.
One more. Oh! 10 life. The Cursed Ground down to 10 life. Voodoo Jester only level 1 Cursed Ground. That was level 2, guaranteed kill, but just not enough. So he's going to fall back. But yeah, the middle lane, he said there was a little bit of action, but not enough for a kill, of course. Man, oh man, as I said, though, you see these lineups, especially the Hellborn team, you expect some crazy stuff to happen. And so far, we are getting that. But pull up the gold per minute chart, man. Monkey King is up there. Pyromancer up there. The Legion team, more importantly, though, nothing, absolutely nothing is going good for them right now. Only 4 minutes in, but still, it is a poor start for Pain Gaming, unfortunately. So that's obviously great news over Cats Gaming, and they have a lot of momentum working off of now.
Yeah, just pull up the stats tab. You can see, like, there's very low CS all across the board. Everyone's just kind of floating around that 10 or so. Actually, Pyromancer's getting initiated on here. A lot of damage coming out. Deadwood actually wants to join the party too, and Pyromancer will fall as a result. And actually, Voodoo is in a very sticky situation. He gets the Cursed Ground off. A Parasite's here too. 4 people in mid. Goblin gets a double kill.
Yeah, again, with the level 1 Cursed Ground, it's just not going to be nearly enough damage to finish off Deadwood, so he'll be fine for now. Well, coordinated coming up from Pride right there, getting some revenge for themselves. So just as I finished talking about how they're not off to the greatest sign, nice rock grass actually landing on Scorpion right there. The Lava Surge on top, don't think it's going to be nearly enough, though, as Hammerstorm easily falls back and will be fine. So we see right there Pyromancer porting in. Obviously, no one coming from, or no one nearby for the Legion team, though, so we just cleared up the creep wave and we'll continue to farm. But yeah, Monkey King, going back to him, though, with the success that he's having specifically, 320 gold per minute right now. And as you stated, and as we've seen time and time again, Monkey King will snowball, and he'll get so deadly. And it's snowball a little bit different, you know, than your usual, you know, say like a Pebbles or something. It's not a magic damage snowball. It's pure physical damage. So unless you get some armor stacking going on, it's not going to be the most effective. We do see Pyromancer in a lot of trouble here in the middle lane. Trying to turn this around, though. Nice Dragon Fire shot. There's a Phoenix Wave, and Magnus isn't going to fall. No, he's not. Leech coming out, not to finish out Pyromancer, though. And now Parasite in a lot of trouble. The auto attack from the tower may set up the kill. He's going to go to the Conquer Pit. He's going to try to take over Kongor. That can't happen, though. Kwai's actually going to pick up the kill. Double tap coming out right there for Voodoo Jester. Obviously, he can't take it over. He's obviously trying to kill himself, but not able to do so. So again, Cats Gaming 5-2 hero kill advantage now. Looking strong for them early. Yeah, and Deadwood is forced to roam now, and that's making it really bad also for them because Luna's getting free farm down here in the bottom lane. Yeah. Meanwhile, Pride, if you actually saw him, he was actually forced to jungle this Vagabond camp right here. Couldn't even finish it because it was stacked or something like that. And actually he might get initiated on. Oh, it's going to be very, very close. Monkey King actually was missing a little bit of mana. Had he had full mana, he could have dashed forward. That's one of the great things about Monkey King is you can initiate on someone from such a far range away. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have seen that plenty of times come out from Monkey King. So FF here on Monkey King again, having a very good time for top lane. We'll see how that progresses. Mid-war is action going on here for Pain Gaming. They're constantly clumping up here in the middle lane, it seems like. Obviously, there's some illusions here, but Deadwood, Magnus, and Glacius all were here. Deadwood now kind of falling back, and Deadwood, he's obviously gave up on that bottom lane. It wasn't going too well, apparently, and he's kind of just roaming around trying to set up kills, which he accomplished somewhat, but now he's in the jungle even. They wanted to stack this, but I guess that was just going to beat away at the yellow camp. And go ahead and get as much as possible. Oh, not enough for the kill into Magnus. The ultimate was used right there, but Magnus barely getting away. I don't think he disjointed. I just got the tail end of that. I believe it was just not enough.
He did. His team back was on cooldown. He just barely got the disjoint off.
Oh,
so
he did? Okay.
Yeah, good for him. That was really close. And what more importantly, it did waste the cooldown of Pyromancer. But yeah, Magnus not having a good time in this dual lane early on. Of course, they've had to roam around and stuff, but as a result, look at that. They're 3,000 gold deficit, 2,400 gold, or sorry, experience deficit, and they're the ones that had the jungler.
Yeah, in fact, Elite's going to come out right there. Speaking of jungler from Parasite, but Hammerstorm just kind of walks away as if nothing happened, and Glacius finds himself in a horrible spot, and Goblin will be torn to bits and pieces. Aluna with that power throw. He's level 7, by the way.
Yeah.
Has a level 4 power throw doing work right there.
Oh,
he went out of the creep just before the stun hit, and Parasite's in a lot of trouble. Now, Dragonfire missing, but holy crap. Everything follows up, and Parasite will go down. He made a big no-no right there. He came out of the creep. Now, I don't know if it just wore off in time, so I might be wrong on that, but
no, it clearly did not.
He just jumped out, yeah. And obviously, if you wait for the stun to hit, then you jump out, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
He did not. Monkey King at the top lane, actually. Nice top with the Lava Surge stun. The final auto attack going to come from Wild Soul, actually. And Monkey King will be taken out, so that's some good news there finally coming up for Pain, slowing down Monkey King a little bit at least.
Yeah, that's a sign of life, I suppose, but that was an unfortunate misplay right there. I think what he was trying to do was just disjoint the stun, but it didn't matter because even if your creep is stunned, you will just pop out of it and not be stunned. So needed to time that just a little bit differently. Yeah,
definitely did. So unfortunate right there, but
if you guys can hear me, give me a thumbs up.
We do see Voodoo Jester actually running, which is.
I know.
I'm sure the crowd is so confused. Anyways, we have Voodoo Jester coming into the top lane as a secondary tower. Just going to go with the creep wave here and start roaming around. He has Striders just like Hammerstorm, actually. So a couple early Striders here for Cats
top
Gaming.
lane.
That's very effective for them. But yeah, back to the top lane. Monkey King trying to get away right here, using that Heavenly Vault. Going to force him to dive into the forest. And Monkey King will be more than fine in the end. Glacius actually thinking about cutting through, but not going to be able to get there. So this tower is going to start taking a lot of damage, but Monkey King survives. And in the meantime, bottom tower push between Hammerstorm and Aluna. Speaking of Aluna, man, I mean, Aluna, 405 gold per minute. It seems like that's came out of nowhere, but she just picked up an Arcana as well. Middle lane, actually, Pyromancer in some trouble, dodging the Rotten Grasp, so it has a haste rune. Easily able to avoid that would be my guess.
Yep.
And going to be fine. But yeah, already an Arcana on Aluna. We're going to see a carry Aluna here, and it's probably going to work out pretty well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she just was left down there because Deadwood was trying to roam mid. And the problem is, I mean, maybe that's okay because you had a tri-lane to deal with, but if you're unsuccessful in your ganks and actually getting killed yourself, it's just massively bad for your team. And as a result, I mean, Cats is just capitalizing like crazy. They're able to push that. They spent a lot of time in the top lane, couldn't get that tower.
Oh, and now Deadwood's in a lot of trouble. Yo-Yo Ball's going to fall right there as Pyromancer comes in. And with that, what is it even called? The Blazing Strike, that's right. Ultimate coming out from Pyromancer sets up an easy kill onto a jungling Deadwood. That's basically what he's been doing this game. He's been trying to just jungle away, try for the best, and it just doesn't seem like it's coming together here for Pain Gaming. I mean, again, when you're resorting to things like that, a jungling Deadwood, your Wild Soul Suicide lane isn't doing the greatest. I mean, again, I'm not trying to be mean, obviously, but nothing is just really working here for Pain Gaming, and it's looking like it could be very similar to the first game, where it's just going to get way. I mean, it already is honestly a little bit out of hand here, and they need a little bit of. Well, it's in the hands of Cats Gaming, really, to kind of give away this game even at this point. What do you see Magnus again? Oh, those are illusions, unfortunately. Now Magnus just falls into the trap, and he will just turn into a baby and start crying.
I think the motivation is just kind of lacking a little bit. I think the morale is down, especially early on in this game.
Yeah.
And coming out of the last game, which was pretty one-sided, it just seems like they're playing a little bit differently. Yep. I mean, when we casted them yesterday, it fails me which team they were playing when they had those push strats.
Even TDM, I want to say.
Yeah, well, no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't TDM. No, you're.
Oh, Deadwood Punch actually gets canceled by the Hammerstorm Sun. The ports are coming in. Oh my God, he actually might get turned on. One more auto attack. No, they're actually not going to kill him. He's going to survive. Parasite's going to find Hammerstorm. One more leech, a couple more auto attacks, but Hammerstorm is actually damn tanky. Yeah. In the meantime, King RD actually does get the kill. Yo-Yo Razor comes back. I keep saying Yo-Yo Razor.
Yo-Yo Razor
gets the kill actually on the Scorpion, and actually they actually win this exchange. Wow. He gets a double tap as well as the tower denied. No, it was not denied. So Hellborn did get that tower killed. So a sign of life here for Pain Gaming.
It is. I mean, you look at the team stats though, and still a pretty comfortable spot to say the least here for Pain or for Cats Gaming. 7,200 gold lead, 3,000 experience in, and again they still have this Monkey King. Hell, and even Luna. Luna's still the top farm in the game, 406 despite that. But Monkey King right now is actually going to start pushing this top lane, and he actually just got delivered his sustainer, and he has a Ghost Merchants on top of that. So he definitely has a null stone, most likely going to be in the works for him, and already again on his way to that. And then you have Zerta here on Pyromancer. He's also up there, 345 gold per minute. He's got Steam Boots, Blood Chalice, you know, and a power supply. Definitely wouldn't be surprised to see a portal key even on him next. So, and then you have a roaming Hammerstorm and Voodoo Jester. And talk about a powerful roaming combination. I mean, Hammerstorm and Voodoo Jester could definitely do a lot of work for you, as they have been already. In fact, they're going to go right here. They're going to run into Wild. So he gets the ulti for him off. I don't know if it's going to matter, though. Voodoo Jester running in the Cursed Ground has been applied. That's a level 3 Cursed Ground. Pyromancer joining the party, and everyone collapsing. Magnus stuns. It only stuns the one player, though. And now Magnus, once again, maybe falling into a trap, but with the hatred, actually, they're turning this around. Parasite and Dewa joining the party. 1 kill happening on a Voodoo Jester. There's a face they're going to be used. Luna's trying to run away with that. Deja Vu. Bullshit Grand. That turn around on a Dewa. Magnus stuns it onto Shadow Styles right there, but he's just out of range. Some more baby taunts coming out. There's another baby taunt. Everyone apparently loves these taunts, and Magnus will fall back. So a lot of more exchanging going on. They do get the kill on a Luna, but again, you just keep looking at the golden experience stats, and it even went up a little bit for Cats Gaming after that.
They're just not really coming out on these team fights in the meantime. You still have one hero on Cats Gaming somewhere getting free farm while this is all happening.
Yeah, and actually, Hammerstorm going to put the stun on a Glacius. In comes a Dragonfire and Phoenix Wave combo, and down goes Glacius. Monkey King's like, hey, I am here, Magnus. Magnus lava surging away. I don't know if he's going to be able to get away, though. In fact, no, he is not. Scorpion goes in there, gets the final auto attack on Hammerstorm, and we are already looking at a 14-8 game and hero kills, 13.5 minutes in. Damn.
It's entertaining to say the least.
Yeah.
I will say I like what Hammerstorm has done. When you're playing this like a kind of second support Hammerstorm, I see a lot of people actually level up their stats over Galvanize. They get 1 point into it just for the movement speed bonus.
Yeah.
But I actually really do like leveling it up. I think it scales quite nicely. It's 9 frickin' armor.
That's a
it
lot,
lasts
yeah.
6 seconds, sorry. But the cooldown drastically gets reduced to 18 seconds. So I actually think leveling up is quite good.
It's not 12 armor, though.
It's not 12 armor.
Almost there. We do have Deadwood again. He's trying to find farm anywhere. He's only farming 187 gold per minute right now. Yo-Yo Balls and right as I say that, we do see Hammerstorm running in right here, and not going to be able to set up a gank though as he fell back in time. In the meantime, Aluna pushes the top tower. A second Arcana is delivered, and she has another 500 gold saved up on her way to finishing the third, which of course will result in a Hellflower. So Pain Gaming doing everything they can right now to try to pick up their first victory here at DreamHack Winter 2012. But Cats Gaming, working off that first game victory, are keeping the momentum going, to say the least. Monkey King flying around on this Nimbus here, the Nimbus 2000, and is going to actually just start pushing this middle lane, or actually may join his team roaming towards the top lane. You see both Wild Soul and Glacius falling back. Deadwood not so quick, though. In comes the Acid Cocktail. In comes the Dragonfire stun.
Oh my
There's
God.
the Phoenix Wave, and Yo-Yo Balls may drop here. But in the meantime, in the background, we see Wild Soul get picked off. Magnus make it away, but Deadwood ain't going to be so lucky. He will fall. Magnus does have a lava surge coming up in 2 seconds. Using the steam bat, though, will not now, but they turn it around on the Hammerstorm, actually. While Monkey King, he can fly through the air. He's going to fall back, though, with the Heavenly Vault. And he gets away right there. That was a buyback. Who was that? On Yo-Yo Balls, actually, yeah. So trying to maybe fight them here, but Cats Gaming doesn't want any of that.
That was an unfortunate buyout, too. When you're a Deadwood that's already suffering and you need that portal key, you absolutely need that portal key to initiate. That buyout is actually pretty huge. He is only level 7. It probably wasn't that much gold, but every little bit counts. Stun coming actually through the trees. Nice stun there from Magnus, actually. He would have been dead. Pyromancer does have his blink, of course, but that stun actually in the background behind that tier 2 tower. A great double stun by Hammerstorm, and Monkey King just absolutely annihilated those two heroes. It was the Wild Soul, of course, being played by Pride and then Goblin. So good exchange right there for Cats Gaming yet again, and their lead just furthers right there. 13,000 gold lead, almost 8K experience lead.
Yeah, I want to sit here and keep hope alive, but just like the first game, I mean, Cats Gaming making a big time statement here to all the teams. I mean, sure, again, not only pick up their first win, but on their way, what seems to be could be a 2-0 series victory here, and giving them hope. I mean, they're definitely still alive if they win here. It is still very possible that they could move on actually to the semifinal stage.
Yeah.
And they're very aware of that, of course. So, we need some good things to happen, of course, but that's part of the group stages. Sometimes you need the other teams to win for you, and if that happens, then you never know. You never know. So. But here they are looking very, very good. Pain Gaming just really can't seem to connect it together. I mean, right now they got Magnus, 231 gold per minute, so trying to find some positive life there. You got him working on that portal key. He has another 1,200 gold saved up, so King RD doing what he can at least. Here already has Striders, a bottle, those Mystic Vestments, and a power supply. In fact, he's going to push this bottom tower now. I don't know how successful he's going to be with it. In fact, he will just fall back, figuring it's probably not worth going in by himself right there. Nullstone just finished on Monkey King. Hammer, or Aluna just picking up her Hellflower, actually. The third Arcana is going to be delivered shortly. We're only 17 minutes into the game. I mean, and a Portal Key also on Pyromancer. He's had that even for a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of steamrolling at this point. Here's the big indicator, too, is when you have Parasite. We usually see Parasites, especially if they have a good game. You can see an early Codex as early as 10 minutes, 11 minutes if you're really lucky.
Yeah.
He's nowhere close. He's nowhere close. He's going to need another about 2,000 gold or so to get that. And that's just not where you want to be, especially when you're starting to get tanky items up on all these heroes. I mean, look at the supports. Voodoo Jester at least even has 700 HP with investments in a power supply and a bound die, by the way.
Oh, yeah. That's good to have this early on, especially. I mean, the fact that you can already be moving around the map at 17 and a half to 18 minutes into the game and be counter-wording all over the place. That just really sucks for the opposition. So Pyromancer level 12 down here. He has an invisibility activated. Oh, he misses that Dragon Fire and a Parasite. He will still get the kill, but that was a little bit embarrassing. He made it work though in the end. Hammerstorm trying to stun the creeps to stun Magnus as well, but Magnus just a little bit too far away, so we'll be fine. So yeah, Zeratul right there. He's definitely making some big plays. Wasn't necessarily one of them, but he got the kill. So
yeah,
that's a good
just
thing.
Massive damage coming up from the Pyromancer. Also, there's Monkey King doing his thing as he jumps over, flies over, vaults over, whatever you want to call it. As they're pushing this bottom tower, you see actually Yo-Yo Balls down here. He gets the Grasp Powder just for a little bit of counter pushing, but of course, Deadwood's not exactly a hero you think of when you think of counter pushing.
Yeah.
Does go the Steam Boots before the Portal Key, and I don't agree with that either. I just think they need that initiation somehow.
Yeah.
Magnus almost has his. If you could time that at the same time as him, you can maybe start picking off some kills, but it's getting really difficult. I mean, this gold lead is getting out of control.
Yeah, what are we at? 16,000 plus gold lead, 10.5 thousand experience lead. I mean, Magnus is getting very close to that Portal Key. He's 1,800 gold saved up, so of course needs the 2150. Then we'll be able to purchase that great item that is. But even with that, you know, really how much use are they going to be able to make out of that? I think Deadwood, you're right. Deadwood's definitely that key figure. I mean, sure, Wild Soul you can argue is very important too, and if they do somehow buy a lot of time, then sure, Wild Soul can definitely start taking over, but. That's obviously way down the line in this game, and the likelihood of getting to that point even is very, very little. So,
yeah.
In fact, on top of this, Cats Gaming love this decision. They're going to go back to Conga right here, knowing basically that the Legion team, even if they knew, they wouldn't be able to stop this. So they're just going to go to Kongor, get a Token of Life, and probably on Monkey King. Yeah, Monkey King's going to pick it up right there. So he knows that. He also has a Broadsword, by the way, picked up.
Yeah, going to go Shroud.
Yeah.
Oh, the blink comes out from Magnus as he does finally have that blink. He is level 11, so that's good for them if they do want to initiate. But I mean, who do you go? I guess you actually can kill a number of heroes. You can kill Pyro. You can kill Aluna, even though Aluna does have that Hellflower. She's still not exactly that tanky. But, yeah, they're still not out of it just yet, but it's going to be a hard uphill battle, man.
Yeah.
Really, really hard. 9 to 18 hero skill score. And the gold and experience lead just seems to keep climbing there for Cats Gaming.
Well, you know, talking about item pickups, especially when you're this, so a normal game, I mean, sure, Mock Brilliance might be it always is a very effective first item pickup on a Wild Soul, but this isn't a normal game, obviously. I mean, Pain Gaming, they're desperately behind. Do you still think going for that first item Mock makes sense here for Wild Soul?
When you're this far behind, no. I would just pick up a Soul's Bulwark, honestly.
Yeah.
Just give yourself a little bit more armor, especially against Monkey King. A lot of his damage is physical. And, yeah, by the time he gets a Mock, it's not going to be that effective, in my opinion. He's only got 2,000 gold. He already went for some other build-up items. Actually, he really doesn't have much. He only has boots on investments on himself, no boots on Boo Boo. So, yeah, he is really struggling in this game.
Not working out too well, and it may just get a little bit worse right here. Pyromancer and Monkey King are looking to engage. Monkey King doesn't have that Assassin Shot just yet. He looks like he's invisible, man, with that Nullstone and everything, but he doesn't actually have the Assassin Shot. The Nullstone's deactivated right there. But he's going to fall back to his team, and it looks like Cats Gaming, they are ready to make something happen. Big note, remember, Monkey King has that Token of Life. He's level 14 as well. He's 4 levels, no, I guess he's 2 levels higher than Magnus over there, but he's 4 levels higher than the Deadwood Wild Soul. Now he's level 15, actually, so even more. They're going to push this metal tower. Galvanize is going to be activated just in case. Try to sprint somebody down before the armor buff, if anything, but this tower easily going to fall. You know, Parasite, I'd be a little bit careful of all I was saying, because again, Monkey, we all know what he can do. It seems like he may be far away, but all of a sudden he's right in your face and kills you in a couple seconds. So they do get the tower kill, though. There's the Assassin Shot purchase at least coming out, and they're going to counter ward in the meantime. As, of course, having that bound die again. Very, very useful for Pyromancer.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They had a good idea and like, okay, there's no way that we can defend this. We're going to try to push out other lanes and maybe farm somewhere else or just there's no point in standing here just waiting for the tower to go down. But they didn't really get anything out of it. Like, if they maybe pushed the tower in bottom, it was like half HP just about. But we had Wild Soul farming the top lane. Or sorry, actually wasn't even farming the lane. He was farming the neutrals. And that's just not an effective trade. Of course, I'm nitpicking because they are down so much. It's really hard to get back in this game, but you can't just sit back like this. You got to actively find pickoffs. Yeah. Use absolutely everything on one hero if you have to. They need something.
Oh, Deadwood in a lot of trouble right here. He's going to try to port out, actually. Monkey King getting cut. Oh, not going to happen, though. Even the power throw coming out. And Yo-Yo Balls will fall. So did everything he could, really, to get away right there. Obviously not to be, though. Level 16 Monkey King now. He still has that token of life for another 4 minutes. And as I mentioned, the Assassin's Shroud has been purchased. Now, he is pretty low on mana, actually, so he won't be able to really do any of his combination, really anything for that matter, as far as other than auto attacks. But they're going to push this top lane nonetheless. They're going to get this tower kill. And this is going to be the last outer tower remaining right now. That Pain Gaming has it. Again, we're only 22.5 minutes in. Yeah. So there we go. They're not, I don't even know if they're going to push into the base even. It looks like they may try to even knock on the door a little bit, but they are. And Pain Gaming, of course they'll have to react to this. I mean, you look at Hammerstream, you don't necessarily think of him as a mass tower pusher either, but that brute strength, honestly, when he has it activated, I mean, he will destroy those towers. So even as a support Hammerstream.
Yeah, Monkey King going crazy right there. He has the token of life for another 3 minutes, so I think he wants to die here.
Yeah. Well, he's going to get that wish, actually. As the eruption comes in from Magnus. Down goes Monkey King, but of course going to right back up. Plague in the meantime gets picked up a Pyromancer, and now Magnus realizing his mistake. The token of life brings that back up Monkey King, and Magnus will fall. Wild Soul puts his ulti form on, hoping to take enough damage. That ain't going to happen, though. He will eventually go down, and Deadwood is also now in a lot of trouble. Only Hammerstorm falling for the Hellborn team.
Oh, wow.
Deadwood will fall, and a genocide basically come out. I guess buybacks are happening here from the Legion side, but I believe Cats Gaming is just moments away now from securing the Game 2 victory here.
It's so bad. And actually, you have double boots on the Wild Soul himself. He hasn't applied it to the bear just yet. Magnus in a lot of trouble just after buying out, just not able to do anything. Hatcher coming out, and they have conceded. Cats Gaming takes a series in a great fashion, 2 games to nothing.
Yeah, GG, well played indeed. I mean, Cats Gaming especially, they really did look good. I mean, that was a team that I mean, they're here to compete. They made that very obvious right there with that game, and that was a lot of fun to watch. I mean, we had, what was it, like 22 hero kills in 13 minutes or something like that right off the bat between the teams. I mean, ridiculous entertainment there, but very fast-paced. But yeah, Cats Gaming, they do take out Pain Gaming 2 games to nothing, and obviously, you know, let's actually take a look at the standings right here while we're at it. I mean, now where that puts Cats Gaming, they obviously 2-0 here, so they actually have a 1-2 overall series record. And so as you can see on your screen right there, they're actually overall now Cats Gaming, they're 2-4. We got Complexity and Orange Esports, they're 4-0 on top of the group. Gary Johnson 2012 at 2-2. And Pain Gaming is now 0-6, so obviously they're going to be at the last place. So that's all if you add up both the games together, of course. Trademark Esports 4-0, TT Esports 3-1, VTI Dynasty, Q Squad, and MRR all 1-3. Yeah. So the important thing to look at, especially that Group B, is that everyone is still alive in Group B. Everyone is still alive, and anyone can still make the top 2. Group A, with that loss right there, especially 2-0, that will unfortunately knock Pain Gaming out of moving on. But of course, they still got one final match. And they have some chance at least to still get that final victory, or at least one victory out of it. But so there you go. Quick look at the standings right there and see how things stand. Go figure.
It is pretty cool. Yeah, it is exciting that Group B. I mean, I was talking with some of the members of TDM, and still anything can happen for Group B technically. So obviously Group A, if you're Orange or Complexity, you're sitting in a great spot. But I think later on today we actually are casting Complexity versus Orange. I don't think that's just next, but that will be the game after that, and that is going to be a lot.
Let me tell you, that will be fun. And that's obviously going to help us determine a lot there in Group A. So, yeah that's actually the next. That's going to be the following after our next one. So that will be later on today. Going to be catching that, and that's, of course, going to be a lot of fun. We got some great matchups, as always, though, through the remaining of day number 2 right here. Again, going to be a blast. Our next matchup, though, is actually going to be Trademark Esports taking on Team MRR, of course, from Group B. Now, as you saw right there, Trademark Esports, they're 4-0. They're in a comfortable spot. You know, again, they're not guaranteed moving on just yet, but they are in a comfortable spot. Wouldn't be surprised. MRR, on the other hand, they're 1-3, but they were tied with 2 other teams, and they could, again, if they happen to surprise us and defeat TDM, and they surprised us yesterday. They beat TT Esports. They took 1 game from them at least, and they looked very good doing it.
They did.
They really did. So, honestly, it would not surprise me, if they come up with some solid strategies, they can definitely take at least a game off of Trademark Esports, and that could really make some interesting things. So that is going to be our next matchup. Should be fun.
Well, if they 2-0 them, it'd be even more crazy. But yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. It looks like we are waiting just for an interview in just a second, so we'll get to that. But
you know what? While we do, actually, I know we were actually planning on doing it maybe before the previous game, but we wanted to jump into the game, of course. But I believe we actually had a video for you guys on Pain Gaming and their trip here. So unfortunately, losing that series 0-2, but just like we did yesterday, of course, with Dynasty. In fact, we've done it with all the teams, but we're putting it together and whatnot. But we showed you Dynasty Gaming, kind of their interviews with them and whatnot, and how they got here. So that was a lot of fun to watch.